Engaging with the past is an idea that is important for all pop art. One of the great inventions of Roy really is that he had developed a style that he could turn any image from any other artist into something that was clearly recognizable as a Lichtenstein, and we cannot confuse that with any other artist. My name is Barbara Bertozzi Castelli. Leo Castelli, who is my husband, gave Roy Lichtenstein the first exhibition in 1962 and worked with the artist throughout his life. Figures is a title that has a clear reference to the work of Pablo Picasso from the 30s and the Surrealist period. Exactly this idea of figures on the beach. In the landscape there are 6 figures. In the same way as Picasso, Lichtenstein is equally leaving them open to our interpretation. I always love the 2 figures that are on the foreground, a shell and the snake. There is a little shadow that really shows how the shell is there, not moving. The snake is really like a little squeakle. You have the impression that the snake is kind of moving toward the shell, like trying to start a conversation. So of these 2 major figures. One of them, I personally see it as a man. It's a face that is painted as a trompe-l'oeil of wood. It's a clear reference to the work of René Magritte, who equally portrayed the male figure as wood. And the other one is a mirror on the left, which personally I see as a woman. It looks a little bit like, in the same way the shell seems to be waiting for the snake to approach, so the woman is also waiting to engage in the conversation with the man. And in a way, I could easily see the man talking and the woman saying something like, all right. Knowing Roy, I don't think he would object to the idea of portraying himself as a piece of wood. Because Roy was a person who had a deep sense of irony, and he often used this irony really toward himself. He was clearly one of the artists who had changed the path of American art in the postwar period. At the same time, there was something about him that was always very modest and dedicated about his work. I remember once we were traveling somewhere with Roy, and he couldn't wait to come back home because he wanted to go back to the studio. It's very interesting about this painting that Roy Lichtenstein never sold it during his lifetime. We have the archive of the history of this work. We clearly have written not for sale back from the 70s, and indeed the painting remained in the collection of the family for a very, very long time. On one side, it's a very classic painting, as the relation to historical surrealism indicates. On the other side, there is an aspect also of experiment and innovation, and I see that particularly in the accumulation of triangles. Seem to be smaller and farther away, but the triangles eventually become a prominent element in Roy's work in the 80s that he calls perfect imperfect. I wonder if the idea of holding on this painting for so long for Roy, the painting was also a source of inspiration for him.